Guys, what's up? It's Ron Smith with Premier Coatings. I know you guys have been wanting to see a video on how I make my sprayers, so I'm going to do exactly that. Excuse me, So first off, I'd like to say I'm not out in the field anymore myself. I'm not the one that's spraying the sealer. If I was still out in the field, Seal and Lock makes an excellent pail pump sprayer. That if I was still in the field, I would use it. It's small, it's compact, it's very easy to maneuver and use. The trouble is, I've got employees that sometimes they get in a little bit of a rush and they don't always clean them out the way they were supposed to be cleaned out. So we run into issues where they would clog up and get sealer in the pumps and whatnot. And as great as Seal and Lock sprayers are, they're a little complicated to work on, especially in the field for somebody like me that doesn't really know how to do that stuff. So I kind of had to design my own little system here that was basically a dummy proof, make it very, very easy to do quick infield repairs. You pop off the pump, throw a new pump on. So that's exactly what I did. So what I will show you, it's very crude. It's not fancy, not by any means, but it works. It works exceptionally well. And we'll seal hundreds of thousands of square feet with these before we have an issue. So I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you kind of some of the things that you'll need, and then I'll also put some links as to where you can get the stuff. So this pump here, I got this from Northern Tool. It's a 12-volt agricultural pump sprayer. It's a 12-volt, 1 gallon per minute, 1 gallon per minute at 40 psi. I'm sorry, 35 psi is what this one is. Works well. We've used the Northern Tool ones. We've used this and we've used the Northern Tool, and I don't really see much of a difference, so this is what we're using now. You'll need a 12-volt wiring harness, which this is from Tractor Supply. This is from Tractor Supply as well. I think this is like 30 bucks. This year I think it was like $10 or $12 for the 12-volt wiring harness. Also, we've got the spray wand. What I like about this spray wand is in the handle here, this unscrews and it has a filter built into that. You got to be careful with that though, because if you're adding a texture additive into your sealer, that will filter out the texture additive and you'll end up with a non-textured area. It comes with an adjustable cone tip, which I took off, and instead we're going to be replacing it with the brass cap and or brass body and cap. What we're using is the 6510s. Shout out and thanks to Rob Harris, because he's the one that actually recommended the 6510, and we switched over and it works fantastic. So need a little battery here. This is an old one. I don't even know if it actually works, to be honest with you, but I'm going to throw that one on there. And I built it off of a dolly. This is an old dolly. Basically I'm just making a backup sprayer, so it's going to be with old stuff that we've got laying around. And for our hose, we use 3/8 air compressor hose. You get 100 feet of it at Lowe's. It's 25 bucks. So it comes out to be basically 25 cents per linear foot. I cut that in half, so I'll use 50 feet per sprayer. So I'll start kind of piecing it together, and I'll show you step by step what we're doing. So I just wanted to test it real quick. So what I did is I took the pump out of the box. I hooked up the 12-volt wiring harness, plug it in. And it's got an on-off switch here, which is nice and convenient, and gator clips to hook up to the battery. So just before I go through all the process, I wanted to test it. So you hear that kick on? It's working. Works great. So I'm going to put the pump onto the cart. So this is very crude right now. I'm not at my shop, so I don't have all my tools with me. So for now, I just kind of set it up where I just kind of set the pump here, and I put a zip tie across the cross member. That's normally how I'll do it, is I'll zip tie it, but I'd put a little more sturdy than that. Normally I would have this tied up real nice and neatly, bunched up and then zip tied right in place, but like I said, I'm not at my shop. I don't have all that stuff with me, so I'm just going to kind of crudely do it. And I got the battery sitting down there on the axle. When it's all said and done, I'll have a bungee cord that kind of keeps it in place there, so you don't have to worry about it wobbling back and forth. But got the pump attached to the cross member, the wire harness, the 12-volt wire harness, and the on-off switch is here, and battery sitting there. Next is going to be hooking up the hoses and going from there. So the hose that I got, I cut the ends off of it. They come with the air compressor ends. It's an air compressor hose, so I cut the ends off of it, and the the wand, it just has a 3/8 barb. It just slips right over top of it. I'm trying to do this one-handed, so, but just slide it over top of it and throw a clamp on it, and you'll be good to go. Now you're going to want to trim about, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet off of your hose. So this can be used as the pickup tube, the suction hose. So what that'll do is that'll attach here on the, that'll attach here on the suction side, so that, you know, it just slides right over the barb there. And that'll hang, this will be in your bucket, and that'll be your pickup tube. Sometimes what I'll do is, you know, sometimes it's very easy for grass and stuff to get in these. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a little piece of screen and zip tie it around this here, and that'll kind of act as a filter. You know, but again, if you're going to be adding texture additive into your sealer, you're going to want to take that off before you do any texture additive. So for this, I'm not going to do it, but you know, there's certain things you can do. So just giving you some. Only thing left to do now, I've got the hose hooked up to my spray wand there. I've got the tip on. That hose comes, you know, it's 45, you know, 48 feet. The only thing really left to do now is going to be to put this on here. I'll probably run it through this side here, and you know, then we're good to go. So I got my water in there, just plain water right now. You can see I got the bucket in there. It's primed up. It's ready to go. It's an on-demand pump, so you know, it's set at 35 psi. So once the psi reaches that in this hose, it's just going to shut off. But to give you an idea, here's the spray pattern we got. And this, my friends, is how we make our spray wands. She's mad. There you go. It's all working. Like I said, very, very simple, very crude. This is just kind of thrown together right now. Before it gets put into use, you know, it'll be cleaned up. I'll probably repaint this frame here, probably black and yellow. We got the battery on there, and on a full charge, we'll probably get, realistically, probably like 2 or 3 weeks of sealing, you know, and for one crew, and you know, that's probably a good 20,000 square feet. So, but works great, guys. And when you're not using it, just flip it off. Now, when this, like I said, this is a very crude design, but what we'll probably do is we'll probably end up putting, you know, hose hangers on here, so that this way we can wrap it all up nice and neat. Maybe a little PVC tube over here, zip tied, so this way we can slide that right into it. And like I said, it'd be cleaned up nicely, but you don't have to go all that elaborate with it. It's not. It's very simple. And if there's an issue, if there's a problem, it's either the battery, the wand, the pump, or the hose. All very, very simple, very easily accessible. 9 out of 10 times it's either a bad battery or there's a clog somewhere, either in this or this. But it's very, very simple, very quick and easy to do in-field repairs. You saw from this video, one can be completely torn down and rebuilt in a matter of 5 minutes. So, all right, guys, I hope you found it helpful. If you've got any questions, give me a shout.